Hello, Oscar.
Hello, you look different this week.
Yeah, I'm not Liam. I don't have a mustache. Is it
Where's
throwing
that
you off?
haircut going?
Feisty. All right, let's talk some betting. We've got plenty to talk about with just over a month remaining in the season. I want to get you started on a market, though, that we haven't spoken about.
No.
And that is our futures multi-builder over on Neds. There's a range of markets available. You can take a handful of teams to make the top 8, to make the grand final, etc., etc.
Bit of value in there.
There is. What do you like?
Yeah, well, I think at the moment, the way Melbourne are playing, back to full strength pretty much for the home stretch, I think at $1.90 for them to make the grand final is great value. Guaranteed a top 4 finish. They get 2 bites of the apple in the final series. And yeah, I just think we haven't seen anywhere near their best throughout the regular season. It's hard to see them not being there for the big dance.
You've been saying that all year. They're not getting out of top gear yet.
Yeah, they're looking good. Manly, $1.08 to sneak into the top 8 there. They're already obviously comfortably entrenched. They welcome back Lachlan Croker, who we mentioned earlier. I think he's a really important inclusion for them in a spine that, providing it stays healthy, Croaks, DCE, Brooks and Turbo, that's not a quartet that I would like to face in week 1 of the finals.
Does that leg make you a little bit sick, though?
Manly.
Yeah.
Shout out Jared Timms. And then St George Illawarra at $1.70 to hold their position in the top 8. They got a really friendly run home, and I just love what they're doing. Their defence last week was superb to clinch that drought-breaking win over Melbourne in Melbourne. Yeah, I just love what they're doing off the ball, and then guys like Tyrell Sloan responding after being dropped to reserve grade the week before. He can do things other guys can't, like burning Pappenhausen without getting a finger laid on you. That's not something a lot of other fullbacks in the NRL could claim to do. So he's still got his defensive deficiencies whenever he's filling up in the line. Harry Grant got him last week. We had that in open groups too, if you're following along, punters. I think $1.70 the Dragons to hold their position and feature in the finals this year. Gerald tipped them earlier in the year at a hell of a lot more than $1.70, so I can't claim this one. But yeah, I think at the moment, those 3, Melbourne Storm to make the grand final, Manly to make the top 8, and Dragons to make the top 8, get about $3.48 as of Wednesday morning.
I don't mind that at all. We were speaking about this before we started recording. There was a leg that you would like to put in, but it wasn't available, and that's the Sharks to miss out.
Yeah.
You can take $2.15 for Cronulla to miss the top 4. So they play the Titans, the Knights, the Dragons, the Wales, and Manly. That's their run home.
Yes.
You're taking that bet.
Yeah, I don't mind the value there. Braden Trindle's out this week with a hamstring injury. They're obviously already missing Nico Hines. I don't think they've been as poor as their recent record suggests. But they're also not winning games that they were winning at the start of the year. So given how the Dogs, how the Cowboys, and how potentially Manly are going to play over the next few weeks, if you're not keen on the Sharkies, I think there's value there for them to miss out on the top 4.
Finally, before we preview a few games, the Wooden Spoon's still very interesting. Tigers $1.08 in our most losses market. Is that too short?
It does feel short, yeah. There's only, one win between them and Parramatta, I think?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so 1 win between them and Para, and then South's another 2 out ahead of them. Tigers have a bye in hand as well. So right now they're on the same amount of points. 2 points behind Eels. I don't know. We might have thrown enough trash at the Tigers this year. Let's not tip them for a spoon at this point of the season.
Yep. All right, let's look ahead to the round coming up. We've got a massive one between the Dragons and the Dogs. Sellout down at Jubilee. That's going to be a really, really big game between 2 top 8 sides. Yeah. Give us your thoughts.
I thought one thing that the Dragons did really well last week against Melbourne, their back 5 all clocked 100 metres easy. 4 of them 150 plus, and then Finai had 120 odd. That allowed them to stay in the grind. Obviously, we know how Penrith have been so dominant. Back 5 does a heap of work, which allows their forwards to stay fresh for defence. That's what St George did to Melbourne last week. We've seen the Storm attack a lot midway through yardage sets around halfway over the last month. They weren't able to do that because the Dragons' middles were winning the ruck, slowing the play the ball speeds down and allowing them to set a really good line. So I think given the Bulldogs are also a team that's been really comfortable in the grind, but not very productive in yardage. They're actually 4th last in the comp for total run meters. It's the kicking game of Matt Burton that keeps them so relative in yardage games. So on paper, the Dragons profile quite well, I think, to nullify what is a big area of strength for the Doggies, which is Matt Burton's kicking game. If they can get out of their end cleanly and defend like they have, I think the Drags are going to fancy themselves a red-hot chance in this one. But also, it's hard to deny what the doggies are doing at the moment. I mentioned Sloane's defense on his line. I think Reed will try and pick him out a few times in good ball. So I found a bit of value there of Josh Curran at $5.20 to crash over for the doggies, trying to target Tyrell Sloane filling up in the front line. But yeah, I'm actually going to take the Dragons to win 1-12 at $3.40.
Oh, it's spicy. I saw a stat that the Dragons haven't lost back-to-back games at all this year. So that's interesting. If they do lose this one, maybe we throw that in the multi next week.
They've been a win-loss team, haven't they? Because they're responding to whatever Shane Flanagan's doing there. I think some weeks there's just been too much changes and too many things he's trying to introduce, and it just all kind of goes by the wayside. And then other times they really pull it all together. So, yeah, I love what the Dragons are doing, and I wouldn't want to verse them in week 1 of the finals either.
Two extremes with that club. The club that got thrashed on Anzac Day, and then the team we saw last week. It's tough to get a read on them.
Yep.
Another game that stands out on the fixture is my Finns taking on the Wars. We've already spoken on the show about the Finns and their top 8 chances.
Yep.
Frustrating watch as a Finns fan last week in that game against the Roosters. Yep. Like I said, very back and forth, but they fall away in the second half and the errors is really starting to cost them. And the Wars attack has been struggling a lot. This is going to be a potential minefield for the punters. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I think you've backed the overs in total points as well on our Putty League, so we're expecting a few points in this one. I think, obviously, with news of SJ retiring at the end of the season, Adam Fanua-Blake's got 4 games left at the club. I thought that ruled them out for finals, but there is still a mathematical chance that the Wars can sneak in there. They've got everything to play for. They were terrible last week against Parramatta. There's no other way of putting it. They're probably their worst performance of the season. I just can't see them playing that poorly again. So I think there's upside in the Wars this week. I've taken them 1-12 at $4 as of Wednesday morning. Like you've said, the Dolphins, we've death roaded them a little bit over the last month or so, just falling off in the back end of games. It's the reality of the troops they're playing with at the moment. So, yeah, I'm going to back the Wars to get a win for SJ here and keep their slim finals hopes alive. Chance Nickel Cook started around $3 is my anytime try scorer pick there too.
Very nice. Let's pivot over to the women's game.
Yeah.
We've got a nice game between the Eels and the Cows that you want to preview.
Yeah, so I backed Parramatta in open groups last week, and sorry to any punters that followed. They were in a position to win.
I was one of those.
You were on it as well. It was bloody close. I think they probably deserved to win. Had 2 points to defend with about 5 minutes to go and did literally everything wrong on a rugby league field to defend a narrow lead through to full time, which they didn't. I think they can make light work of North Queensland Cowboys here in NRLW round 3. Cows terrible in round 1. Everything went their way last week to get the job done against the Dragons. I can't see them playing that well again. Really liking what Cassie Tohi-Hiku is doing at 5'8" for the Eels at the moment. So I've taken a couple of left edge Parramatta players. Mahalia Murphy is their captain and back rower, and Zali Faye is a wonderful finisher on the Eels left edge.
Lots of value there in the betting as well. It's close to even money on offer between the Cows and the Eels. Yep. So good potential fill up for the punters.
Fingers crossed.
Great chat as always, Oscar.
Thanks,
I'm sure Liam will be back next week.
Yeah, we'll see if we'll take him back, eh?
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website